Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are actually in front of Walmart. I was starting my story time in front of my house, but the lighting, the sun's coming up right now, you guys. And this was a requested story time, and yeah, so I'm gonna tell it. So basically this story is about the time when my daughter, she was 1 at the time. This is a story about my oldest daughter, and she was 1 at the time, and I dated this guy and he burned her face. So I just wanted to tell this story because I feel like it could help other people in like seeing red flags and things like that. And I just hope that this helps someone. So if you guys are new to my channel, please subscribe and push the bell so you can get notified when we post more videos. And if you guys are returning, welcome. Thank you guys for being here. And so basically we're gonna tell us, I'm gonna just go into it. I wanted to start off with how like I kind of saw like the red flags before it happened. So he was a really nice guy. Like, he did everything for me, always catering to every single need that I had. It was like crazy. Like, he was like perfect. And I'm only saying that like in regards to like our relationship and like like being there for me. And so I ended up like meeting this guy. He was really nice and stuff, and he had a job and everything. And then next thing you know, I ended up moving in with him. And right when I moved in with him, he quit his job. I got welfare at the time, so like how like they could pay for your childcare and stuff. So he decided he wanted to get paid to watch her instead of work or whatever. And I really it didn't matter to me. So because I work, I love to work. So anyways, he started getting paid to watch her. He quit his job and stuff, and then he would always like be watching her and stuff. And it was like because I work so much. And then he one day I ended up like my back was hurting and I went to the doctors. We were at the emergency room because they didn't have Kaiser in like Vacaville at that time. So I was at the doctors, and my daughter pooped on herself. And I just remember this story because like something happened with it. So she pooped on herself, and then next thing you know, like he was like, oh, I left the diaper bag at home, I'm gonna go home and change her or whatever, and I'll come back or whatever. So I'm like, all right. And then he comes back, and then we get home, and like a couple days after that, I realized that my back scratcher, so the back scratcher where it got like the little circle part, the rolly part in the back where you kind of roll it on your back, and then there's the other part where it scratches. So the rolly circle part was broken off, and it was like, I was like, what happened to my back scratcher? Because I used it. And he basically said, oh, it must have broke, like she must have hit it against the wall and stuff. So I was like, okay, and I just let it go. And so basically, just get cozy, and basically like I was like, all right. And then I was like trying to change her diaper. I'm trying to remember like what I was trying to say. So I was trying to change her diaper after that because she peed, and I was like going to change her diaper. And mind you, like every time I go and try to change her diaper, he'd try to hurry up and like change it before me or get there, or like, oh no, I'll do it and stuff. And I never really thought too much of it because it's like, okay, you're just being a helpful boyfriend. And I ended up changing her diaper. Like, I was like, no, I got it, I'll do it. Like, so it was like, no, there was no other choice. So I was doing it. And when I was changing her diaper, I realized there was a bruise under her butt. And I like was like pushing it. And mind you, like my daughter is a real dark skin complected. Like, this is my oldest daughter who's dark skinned, really beautiful caramel skin. And I just kept pushing it, and I was like, does that hurt? Does that hurt? Because it looked like a bruise under her butt. And then he like keeps insisting to jump in and like try to talk for her, like, oh no, it's not hurting her, that came from the cream that your grandparents gave you and this and that. And mind you, it's A&D ointment, and my grandparents always used A&D ointment, so I knew that it didn't come from there. So I just like off top was like, like straight up, like God gave me that inside of me, like like, did you whip my daughter with that back scratcher? Like, it just came out my mouth. And he just looked at me like blank space, like, and I just like, don't you ever hit my daughter. And then it came to me like, did you whoop her when she pooped when I was at the doctor's? And then he didn't even say nothing then either. So it was like a red flag. That was the red flag, the first red flag that I did not pay attention to, you guys. And I was like, don't ever whip my daughter. I'll whip my daughter myself. You don't have to do nothing to my daughter. She's only 1 year old. Like, I will deal with her. And I just like, after that, I was like, don't whip my daughter. But mind you, he still watches her. He still like was taking care of her. He still like, when I was at work, he would, babysit her or whatever. And so then I got off of work one day and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out to eat with my mom. My mom was going out to eat with her best friend. And so I was like, oh, I want to go too. And I'm gonna take my daughter with me. And then I ended up like calling him, and I was like, oh, we're gonna go to Olive Garden and this and that when I get off of work. And when I got off of work, I was getting ready, and then he was like, she doesn't need to go. You can go by yourself. You need some woman time. Get a break or whatever. And I was just kind of like, okay. But I really wanted to take her, but he just insisted in her staying. So I didn't take her, and I ended up going to Olive Garden. And after Olive Garden, we were going to go to Walmart. So I called and I was like, hey, how's she doing? And he was like, oh, she fell. I put hot and cold on her face, and but she's sleeping now. So I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really understand what hot and cold, like, I really was like, what? Like, I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, he had a sister who works in the hospital, and she told her to put hot and cold because she fell to keep it from bruising and stuff. So I was like, like, it really just didn't make no sense, because mind you, he ain't never told me he even had a sister, for real. So I'm like, what? And I was like, okay. So I didn't get her. We went to Walmart. Then when I got home, she was like sleeping in her bed all peaceful. Like, those princess beds that got the little canopy and stuff. She had one of those beds, and she was like sleeping, and she had like this gauze, like, the thing where they wrap around your face like you have a toothache. So it looked like she had a toothache, and she was like just like sleeping. So I didn't bother her. And then in the morning, I go to the bathroom, and then I take her with me and have her sit on her potty because I'm potty training her. And so then I started taking the thing off her face, and while I was taking it off her face, he guarded into the bathroom. Like, he just hurried up and got in the bathroom, and then he's like, what are you doing? Don't take that off her face, you're gonna get it infected and this and that. But mind you, like, before that happened, right when I took the thing off her face, I hurried up and took a picture, and I sent it to my mom, because I'm like, Mom, what the heck? Like, oh my God, like, so you guys, it was like the whole side of her face, it was on this side of her face, and it was like going like this, and this whole part of her face was white like mine, with like pus and blood, like kind of like just dripping out of it, you guys. And it was like the most like scariest moment in my life, because like the whole side of my daughter's face was burnt off. Like, the whole side of her face, all the skin was off her face. Part of her ear right here was off, and like right here. So like I was like, what the heck, what the hell, like, what happened to my daughter? And he was just like, like, put it back on, you're gonna get it infected and this and that. I'm like, you need to take me to the emergency. And it was like, you guys, I like fought with him. Like, I didn't fight with him. He took my phone and stuff, and like, I didn't have a car at the time. I was only 19 years old, so like, I couldn't just go and like run away or whatever. We were in these apartments, and it was like, and then when I called my mom was out with my pops out of town. They were like in Sacramento or something, and she couldn't come like right away. So it was like I felt so alone, and all I can do was pray. So I just prayed and I prayed or whatever, and I was like, please take me to the emergency. He would never take me to the emergency. He was not trying to take me to the emergency. He kept saying he's gonna go to jail, and I just kept like reassuring him, like, if it's an accident, you won't go to jail. Like, nothing will happen to you. Like, just take me to the emergency. Like, you don't even have to come inside with me. And I just kept like trying to like, push him to do it, and he would never do it. And then he took me to Rite Aid. Yeah, he ended up taking me to Rite Aid. I was like, we parked in front of Rite Aid, and he like told me, he was like, you go in there and you tell anybody anything, I will leave with your daughter. Like, I will take me and your daughter, and you'll never see us again. And like, at that moment, I just felt so helpless. Like, when I walked, so like, I got out the car, and I remember walking into Rite Aid, and I just straight up wanted to just like scream, like, to the top of my lungs, help. But I didn't do it because I didn't want nothing to happen to her. And so I got into Rite Aid, and I'm like looking in the burn section, and I like basically got everything that I can get, like, all those like the gauzes and the ointment for burns, and then they had like these band-aids where like you could put it on a cut or a burn, and then it's supposed to just sit there and heal it. Like you don't even have, it has the medication on the band-aid and stuff. So I like got all the things that I could get or whatever, and then we ended up getting back to the apartment. And I just remember like I'm in the bathroom, like he's not even helping me or nothing. I'm like doing everything on my own or whatever, trying to like help my baby. And I'm like, does it hurt? And she just kept looking at me saying no, but it looked horrible. And so anyways, I ended up like trying to put the stuff on her face. I put the band-aid on her face. You guys, it's just sliding off her face because the stuff is coming out, and it was like just coming off, and nothing was working. And I just remember like looking at like before that, I just remember like closing my eyes and saying, God, please soften his heart. Please soften his heart and just let him take me to the doctors, my poor baby. And I guess it was like when he realized like everything I got wasn't working and it really was just coming off her face and stuff, he decided to take me to the hospital. So we get to the hospital or whatever, and mind you, like this was like 7 hours, like 7 hours passed from when I saw it. Like 7 hours passed from when I saw it in the morning, and he was not trying to take me. So when we got to the hospital or whatever, we're like waiting for the doctors to come in, and it was CPS that ended up coming in. And you know, they ended up talking to us separately, and they asked what happened. So I like basically told him like, you know, what he told me, because I was not there. I don't know what happened. And then they ended up telling me like, well, he told us a whole nother story. Like he said he was putting hot and cold on his shoulder, and then she grabbed it and put it on her face. And like, mind you, like when he told me what happened, he said he put a wet towel in the microwave for 30 seconds. And you can like cook a whole burrito for 30 seconds if it's thawed, you know? So like it gets really hot, and then the steam, you know? So I could only imagine what happened to my baby. And so anyways, they were like telling me like he said that, and I was like, you know, like, well, he told me this, like, you know. So they told me like basically, you know, we can't keep you from him, but we can keep you from her. And right there broke my heart. And I was like, what? You guys can have him. Like, I love my daughter. I would never let nobody hurt my daughter, you know? So it was just real hard. Like, it was just real, like, what the heck? And basically, like, he basically told them a whole nother story or whatever. And I told them, like, you know, like, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened and stuff. And she ended up having to go to Shriner Hospital. She had first, second, and third degree burns on her face. Like right by her ears and stuff. She had like third degree burns, and we had to go to Sacramento, and basically we had to clean it 3 times a day and like cover it and all that stuff. And I didn't trust him. I didn't want him to watch her no more and stuff. So I let her go with my grandparents, and they had her for a while, and they were doing it and cleaning it and stuff, because I went to work and I didn't want to like lose my job and stuff. I just worked at KFC, so that was just like really dumb. I should have just quit. But it was like I was young and dumb, and I ended up like still staying with him, and I felt like this weight on my heart, and it just didn't feel right. Like it just was not right. And so my grandparents could not take care of her anymore. Like something happened where like, you know, they had their own lives and stuff, so they gave her back. And she was like, you know, still had the thing on her face, but it was like a couple weeks had passed. And I remember the next day I had to go to work, and he had to watch her again. So I was at work, and he texts me, and he's like, you know, oh, we're at the park. She's having so much fun at the park and this and that. And mind you, she has the thing on her face. So I was like, you know, I don't want her going out like that. You know, I really want her to stay in the house and stuff. And he was like, oh, she hurt her arm. Like right up here. Like I didn't know at the time what happened, or where it was, but he was like, she hurt her arm. She got a little boo-boo on her arm. The slide was hot. And mind you, like I dressed her in the morning, and she had a long sleeve shirt on. So it's like, how could she hurt her arm, or how did, you know, anyways, it didn't make no sense to me. So when I got home, before I got home, he was already parked in front of my job like 3 hours before I got off of work. Like, you guys, really 3 hours before I got off of work. I worked at KFC, so you know they got that window right there, and you just can look right out when you're taking orders inside, and you can see right out and he's like parked right there looking at me. And I just remember that was like the most creepiest thing. Like my heart was just like, I was like, ew, this is weird. And that's a red flag. And so I ended up like getting home. Like when I got off of work, he's already there, so we went home, and he ended up like, you know, going into the living room and stuff. So I'm trying to give her a bath, and when I'm taking her shirt off, her shirt is stuck to her arm right here. Like it's stuck. And I was like peeling it off her, like trying to peel it to not rip her skin off. And the same thing that was on her face, you guys, was on her arm. And like this happened like 12 years ago. And like, I'm just looking at it now, like he was trying to cover up what he did to her. He was trying to cover up his lie that he told the CPS. And I ended up going to church, you guys, like 2 days after that. I was off after that, and I ended up going to church, and in the sermon it was basically talking about God will not put more on you than you can bear. You know, there's always a way out, and God will take care of you, you know. And I just remember like texting him right after the church service, and I said, you know, I'm leaving, I'm gonna get my stuff, and I can't be with you anymore. And when I got to the apartment, he like threw all our things out. He threw all the things out. He threw her baby bed and stuff. Like she had pink, you know, it was the princess one, and it was pink, and he had it like in the grass, just thrown out there, like with no love. Like you can tell he did not care about my daughter. And I just want to say, like, he kept trying to get me pregnant, and I could never get pregnant. And he grew hatred towards her. Like I didn't see that, but now that like I'm sitting here thinking about it, he like grew like hatred for her. He was trying to have a baby with me. He was trying to have a family, and I loved her so much. She was the apple of my eye. So that was my baby girl, and like it was like he was trying to hurt her. And honestly, I feel like if I did not go to church that Sunday, my baby would have died. He was trying to kill her, and she couldn't even talk. She was only one. So I hope that this story could help other people in red flags and stuff, because at the end of the day, like, if that did not, like, that happened and stuff, and I came back to Vallejo and stayed with my grandparents, and like God led me back to my high school sweetheart Dante, and I got married to him, and like, you know, so it's like everything happened for a reason. But I just want to like tell this story because like this was a time when I dated someone and they burned my daughter's face, and if I didn't trust God or know God or like have other people around me, like I don't know what would have happened. So I'm just trying to tell the story really fast, because I'm in front of Walmart. I like did this last night, so, and it was really dark, so I wanted to give you more of a lighter version. But I just want to tell you guys that like in life, you have to pay attention, okay? Like you have to make sure that you're paying attention. Even though you trust someone or you think that they're gung-ho for you and your kids, you have to always pay attention to those red flags. When he kept taking me to Planned Parenthood and was getting so upset that I couldn't get pregnant and stuff, those were red flags. And then when I saw the bruise on my daughter's butt and he's saying it's from A&D ointment, that is a red flag. And then when the thing was broken and I'm like, what the heck happened? And then that's a red flag. When someone quits their job and wants to sit and be a stay-at-home parent and watch your kid, that's a red flag. Let men be men and do what they're supposed to do for their family. I feel like I was so young, and I thank God that it happened when I was young. And like now that I'm older, I am just so much more wiser, you know? Like I don't trust people with my kids. I don't want everyone to, like, I could watch my own kids. I could stay home. I could take my kids. If someone is like acting all weird and stuff, want to be all up under your kids and stuff, like those are red flags. You don't really know what people's real intentions are. This guy was like holding a samurai sword, like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself and stuff after it happened. And I didn't encourage him to kill himself. I was like, you know, trying to like reassure him that everything's okay and stuff. But I left him, you guys. When I showed up, all my things were thrown out. I have 9 siblings. They all came and grabbed all the stuff, and I moved back to Vallejo. And I just wanted to tell this story. I hope you guys have a great day. This was like really like hard, but I love you guys. Have a good day. And be you, be loved, and be awesome.